Hey friends, it's Cindy Bro from Cindy Bro Marketing, and I'm excited, so excited. I have a special guest today, Traci, who I've only met through Facebook, and I'm super excited to hear more about her business. Hi, Traci, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Tell everybody a little bit about what it is you do, the Back to You support. It's a little bit of a different business type than I've had on my show in the past. So explain exactly what it is that you do.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so back to perinatal support, which I get is a mouthful, is a support hub for women, local women in Rockford and the surrounding state line area, but also a lot of our things are virtual as well. So we offer everything from prenatal education, like birth classes, to live birth doula services, which is labor support while you're in labor, somebody who never leaves your side and helps you advocate for yourself, provides emotional support, helps your partner support you better so that the experience is good for everybody. All sorts of things. We can go on and on about doula stuff. We also do lactation counseling, which is help with breastfeeding. So we can do that kind of on demand, which is pretty cool, virtually or in your home. We also offer postpartum doulas. So some people have heard of like a baby nurse. Postpartum doula is sort of that, but much more trained. So they offer support for the mom and the baby and all sorts of things. They're kind of angels. We do mental health and pelvic floor health and nutrition counseling and birth photography, live birth at your home or newborn maternity photos. All sorts of things are available. So the whole idea is that you come to Back to You support when you are pregnant or postpartum and you need some support, and we find it for you. If it's something that we do ourselves or something that we refer, that's what we're here for.
That sounds like a fantastic resource. How did you get into providing these services for women?
Well, I didn't have any of that. Basically, when I had my two kids who are 5 and 7, I felt like there was nowhere to go. I didn't know who to ask. I didn't want to talk to everybody under the sun about all of my personal concerns. I wanted to know where to go and who were the experts in my area. And I just felt underserviced, I guess, and I was scared and felt feeling like I wasn't doing a good job and didn't feel like I had the support from the people who were around me in a way that was going to be enough to cover all the bases. So it kind of stuck in the back of my mind as my kids were little that there was just this gap. Care providers in the hospital can help you in some ways that are really great and super important. And your people at home can help you in other ways that are also great and important. But there's no one there to ask the questions to that are not particularly medical and that really have to do with this labor, birth, postpartum period when there's just a lot of stuff going on that we need to talk about as women. So I met a doula when my youngest was 6 months or so maybe, and I was just sort of emerging from my own postpartum. I don't know. I don't know if I had postpartum depression. Like I look back and I think now that I know what I know, maybe I did, but at the time I didn't know. It just sucked. So um, I met a doula after that, and I didn't think, I cried to myself, like, holy shit, sorry, can you
It's
swear?
okay.
That I could have really used that. And who knows what could have been better. At that point, things in my life were really difficult, particularly at home with my partner and my two kids. And I just felt like, man, I really miss that. I bet that really would have solved a lot for me. It makes me a little emotional still. So I kind of like sat with that for a while and eventually thought, I think I can actually be one. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I didn't intend to go back to work really at that point in my life. I was kind of running the show at home all by myself without family and anything. So it was a little bit of a hurdle as a previous entrepreneur to go back to being an entrepreneur at this stage, you know. But I just kind of dove in and figured we'll see what happens. And it's turned into all this. And I'm like in love with my business. I just think it's super important. And I'm happy and humbled that people trust me at this stage in their lives, you know.
Yeah. So I love it that you felt a calling for it and you went after it, right? Because a lot of I feel like some of the hurdles that people have, especially when they're thinking about a business, is, you know, will it survive? You know, how will I make it happen? And you just were like, this is amazing. I'm going to try it. And because it would have been so beneficial for me, I want to give this to other people. So hats off to you for doing that. So did you have to go get special education? Was that a process to become a doula? Like, what is it? Like, what does that look like, that process?
Yeah. I kind of had the business background part, so I knew if I was going to turn it into a real business, I had experience with that, but I had never helped a soul through anything except my little kids. And so
That's a lot, though. Don't discredit yourself. Being a mom
oh
is
my
hard.
gosh, it's a lot. No, it's for sure a lot. But I guess I never helped an adult in any way. You know, I didn't have a background in education or anything social work related or anything that might have been kind of useful. So I got trained to be a doula, yes. And the doula training I think now a lot of it's virtual, but at the time it was a 3-day maybe course all day with all sorts of reading and then tons of books after that. So we cover topics from, you know, early latching of breastfeeding, but then also like mental health, emotional concerns going on, how to help relationships through this time, and a lot of physiology and anatomy and stuff. And kind of like a lot of the words you hear when you're in labor and the staff is talking to each other and you're kind of like, I wonder what that is. I wonder what fetal distress even means. Like, how distressed is he or she? You know, we learned all that stuff. So I can explain it to somebody and I can sit with them and explain it for a long time, not like your OB comes in and says, this is what I see, this is what I recommend, gotta go. I'm just there for this person, so I get to stay and we rehash and go through it and talk things over and then call the OB back if we have some questions that are beyond my scope. So that was the doula training. Then I became a certified lactation counselor, and that was actually a bit more involved and pretty serious science stuff that was more than I expected. It was a whole bunch of nurses and me, the person with the business background. I was like, I'm a little in over my head, but I ended up loving it. And I had already breastfed 2 kids, so I kind of knew what they were talking about in that way. And those are my kind of credentials, I guess. And a lot of doula work is learning on the job. And now that I've done, oh gosh, I don't know, 20 probably-ish births, I can anticipate a lot of what might happen. So I can bring that experience to my clients, which I think is sometimes even more helpful than what you might learn in a class or read in a book.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That hands-on experience is something you can't learn in anything in education or whatever. So explain to me, because I have 2 children, but I did not know anything about a doula. Is that, am I even saying that right? I don't even know. Doula?
Doula. Yeah. Yep.
Do you go to the hospital with them, or is this more for home births, or both, or what?
Yeah, it's up to the doula what you want to provide support for. I do home births and hospital births. I personally don't do home births without a midwife present, but I love home births and hospital births. They have different vibes and they're for different people, and I think that people should choose what makes them feel the most safe and comfortable. So yeah, a doula, the way I work is when my client feels like their early labor signs are turning into more and they're feeling like they could use more help than their partner is able to provide, they call me and say, come on over or meet me at the hospital or whatever. And I gather up my bag of tricks and out I go. So I just sort of show up with my Mary Poppins bag of tools and things we can do, and we get after it, and we stay together until the baby is born. Through hell or high water, no matter what happens, I don't go anywhere unless I'm asked to, go get ice chips or get help with something or find the nurse or whatever. So I get really close to my clients. We typically do meet in prenatal appointments several times beforehand. So by the time they're in labor, we're friends. And then I love that part of the job because I feel like that's kind of what I really needed during my whole experience. So we have something going before birth, and it's not like I'm a stranger showing up to suddenly be there for you in every way, because that would be kind of strange, I think. And then I do a postpartum visit where I will come to my client's house, and since I have the lactation certification, I can help with breastfeeding, or we can just talk about birth and how they're doing and what life is like. And I'm sure like with your first baby, you bring them home expecting it to be a certain way, and it's usually not. And so it's helpful to have somebody be like, yeah, it isn't that, it's this other thing, but that other thing's okay. We're going to make this other thing work. So that's kind of the doula gig, I guess. And some jobs are at labor 5 or 6 hours, and sometimes it's 26 hours, and you just never really know. So it keeps me on my toes.
Right, and what a commitment too for you. And I imagine a pretty strong bond with some of your clients that last a really long time, and very special too. My birth story is probably just similar to many, especially my first one. There was a lot of hiccups, a lot of scary moments, and then she was here and we were sent home, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hurt so bad. And without going into a lot of detail, they didn't tell me a lot of things that had happened to me during the birthing process. And then when I went back for my week appointment, the lady was like, wow, okay, you can get through this. And I was like, is this not normal? So I feel like almost, as you're talking and how you never knew about it until after about 6 months, now that I'm hearing about it, I feel like I would have liked that. Oh no, where did you go?
Who, me?
I have lost connection. Hold on. Wait a second. Oh. Okay, here I am. I don't know what just happened to my computer. It totally went blank.
Can you see me? I was here. I could see you.
Everything went blank. So I'm sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay.
But I don't even remember where I was at. It was a very raw moment, I guess, for me, and scary. And I feel like having somebody that could help connect the dots of what happened to me, and make me feel like, hey, it's normal. They just didn't tell you everything,
Yeah.
And that, like you said, the emotional support, especially for the first time you're going through it, everything seems scary because it's new, and you have this little human that you've created, and now there's a lot of responsibility, and nobody really prepares you for all of that. So I can imagine the bond that you create, the friendships that you develop is probably a perk of the job, of your business. And the one question I do have is, when you created this, when you decided that this is what you were going to do, did you dream about having it as a hub, or did it kind of snowball into that, like all these other things coming together, so that it was a big support hub for new mothers?
I think initially I just wanted to be something for somebody that I didn't have. And I think part of my own healing through what had gone on in my household was triggering the need to go, turn it around in a way that I couldn't do for myself. And you were kind of starting to talk about your birth story before we lost connection. And every woman, unless you were under anesthesia, remembers their birth so vividly forever. And research has been done and has shown that it's one of the memories, if not the most memorable memories that we have as women. And people in their 90s can tell you their whole birth story. They don't remember their wedding day. They don't remember much of anything of these milestones, but everybody remembers crazy level of detail about their birth. And over time, it gets more exaggerated on the happiness front and on the sadness front, or whatever emotion stands out for you gets exaggerated over time. And my first birth was so hard and so painful physically and so lonely and scary. And my second was so tough on the postpartum end that when I started, I think I just wanted to be someone else's Band-Aid. I don't know. I just was like, what am I going to do with all this emotion? I'm so upset about all these things. And everybody was happy and healthy, all the real important stuff was fine. And I did have great medical care. So if they're listening, I still do appreciate that. But in my heart, I didn't like how it went, and I was hurt. So I wanted to fix it. And that was the best way I could think of. And then I felt like what I was learning as a doula was not going to solve everybody's problem of everything motherhood related. Some people need postpartum care. Some people need pelvic floor therapy. There's just all sorts of things that happen, and I'm not going to be the solution to everybody's problems, nor would I try to be. So that's kind of where the hub thing came about. And I think when COVID started and everybody shut their doors, I just got an influx of interest. All these moms were being told that even their partner wasn't going to be allowed to go to their birth, and they were going to be doing it alone and subjected to COVID tests and all this stuff. And, some of it is smart, and it doesn't mean it's not scary, things can be wise, but also make it a lot crappier. So I wanted to give them as much support as I could. So then I think I started reaching out to other people in town who I knew were good family therapists and, people who had a photography business that could really help capture the moments before and after the birth so that the memory could stay strong and positive, even if there was one moment that wasn't how these moms were hoping. And I hear from my clients who I've had over the past year about how hard this year has been because they haven't really been able to have the kind of help that they thought they would from grandma and grandpa or whomever.
Right.
A lot of those people were segregated, and the elderly weren't allowed to be cavorting around, So people feel like they got robbed, and I hope that this whole thing ends soon. But in the meantime, the virtual classes that I was teaching were kind of okay, you can't have a doula right now, so let's turn these birth partners into doulas. So it was sort of my doula training for dads or mom or whoever was going to be there with the mom. And I think I want to continue that because I think for a lot of people, they either don't want a doula there, they'd rather have it be their partner, but they're worried that how's my partner going to know what to do? And the truth is they're not. Why would they know what to do? They don't do this. This isn't their bag of tricks either. So they worry about that. And then, some just financially can't have a doula. And there are other options. There are community-based doulas who I refer them to, but if they would rather just, have it be at home with their partner or at the hospital with their partner, then by all means, they should be equipped to do that. And that's kind of my purpose, I guess.
I like the fact that you were able to, and we've used this term a lot, I think over the last 18 months, is you've learned to pivot. So you were able to take your business that was once very in-person and personal to now online and be able to help in a different way, but still, hitting that need and that purpose of what you do. So tell us about your online class or a little bit about how that works. We know you touched on it a little bit, but is it structured so that you have to attend from this date to this date? Is it, give us a little insight on that. I'm very curious on that. I would never have
Yeah.
thought that would be a possibility. So kudos to you for thinking outside the box, I think.
Thank you. I mean, when COVID started, I had never opened Zoom. I had no idea what it was. And it's so funny. I look back and it's like not knowing how to use a telephone now,
Right.
But I had 6 families show up in the course of 2 or 3 days who were nervous about birth and being told no one was going to be there. And I thought, well, maybe I can just teach what I do in home online instead. And now I am transitioning so that all of my classes will be downloadable. So moms or partners can come on my website, they can purchase one class if that's all they want, or the whole bundle of classes, or a la carte, whatever works for them. Watch it at their leisure. They don't have to get off the couch. If you have, already have a couple kids or a toddler at home, making it to an in-person class is kind of hard, and nobody wants to have to hire a babysitter to go to a class. And I remember those days. I'm not that far from those days when it was just really hard to get out of the house, and I would have killed to have my birth classes be online in some format, especially in a way where we could watch it whenever we felt like, because my partner's schedule wasn't consistent. My life was, up and down with once I had one. And so it would have just been a lot easier. And I think I have all the right content that moms need to feel prepared. And I feel like at this point, having done it for a couple of years now, I've fine-tuned it so I know what people really want to hear and what kind of homework they should have and worksheets and stuff. So there's stuff in between the classes that people can do. And everyone has access to me throughout. So I'm not hiding. I'm a real person. If people watch the class and they don't understand, or they want me to demo a certain stretch that they need to do or something, like, I'm right here. So I just make myself available. But yeah, all the classes will be downloadable starting in February. And so between now and then, I'm doing 6 classes in a series. So that's sort of the whole prenatal program. And those 6 classes will be Wednesday evenings at 5:15 Central Time. So they're going to start November 10th, and it'll be every Wednesday until December 22nd, excluding the Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. So we are going to meet in person, but you don't have to meet in person if you'd rather just get the replay, or if your due date's after February and you'd rather just wait for the whole bundle to be available as downloadable, then wait till then. So I'm really excited to film the classes. This is good practice because I get to be in front of a camera, trying not to be awkward. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's kind of the direction I'm going, because I could teach the same thing over and over again, or, I could do it once and then be available for questions and have people be able to watch it when they want. And all of my recent classmates have said they would love a downloadable link, because you take a class, it's a ton of information. No one's focused 100% of the time, let's be honest. There's pregnancy brain, there's
I was
little
just going to say
kids.
the pregnancy brain right there.
Yeah, I mean, I still have mom brain, and I probably shouldn't anymore, but it's just nice to have a refresher. And if you watch 6 weeks of classes, class 1 might be kind of hard to remember when you're 39 weeks and you're still figuring out how the car seat gets in the car and what you're packing in your hospital bag. It might be nice, and I've had clients even watch them during labor if I'm not there as their doula, or they've pulled it up on their phone and watched, something that I've sent them, like another class, their own class. I always send people their own class, but these new ones will be downloadable for like the masses, I guess, the big masses.
That brings out, you kind of opened up a door. I mean, could you be the virtual doula? Like, I mean, is that something that has crossed your mind? Like, now you're more in the Rockford area, but with what you're talking about, man, you could really open up that to be anybody's doula. Like, has that crossed your mind? Are you excited about that, or are you rather like more personal, local?
I'm super excited about that. It has crossed my mind. It adds a different layer of challenges from when I put my business hat on. When I don't put my business hat on, I'm like, more people to help, yay. When I put my business hat on, I'm like, okay, realistically, if someone's in labor and they need me and I'm in the middle of making chicken nuggets, that's more challenging, right? Than if I'm in the hospital with them and I have everybody taken care of. So as a mom, I think that will be a different, I'll need to figure that out, but at least the prenatal prep can be virtual for now. And then virtual doula services is something that if I could get a team of doulas and we all took shifts, that's kind of how I see that working.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we do with the breastfeeding on demand, not the lactation counseling on demand. So I think it works. I'd love to have a few more doulas to work with, and then we could sort that out, because I think it would be an incredible service. It's super popular for people who maybe don't want another person in the room or don't want to pay for somebody. I think virtual services would be a bit more economical. So yeah, if there are doulas out there listening and you're interested, I'd love to partner up to make that happen. It is a different kind of service offering that needs to be factored in, like how to live and work and parent and all that. The challenges we face as moms, right? We're going to squeeze it all in.
I love it. I love the possibility of, where you could actually take this, and it happened because of COVID. So I always like to think about what, because everybody is so negative about COVID and it's affected our lives in so many different ways. But when you're looking at the business, I really like to get people to find the positives out of it, right? And I feel like how you've been able to change and mold it so that it works, and you can still help those families as much as possible, even though you might not be able to be at the hospital with them. Like, I think that is key, and you can tell in your heart and your passion that you are just going to try to figure it out, and not just like, I guess we'll take a break until this COVID stuff goes away. But I love it. And one other question I have, and we're getting towards the end, and I told you 30 minutes goes by super, super fast. But where do you want your business to go in the next few years? What's your big dream for your business?
Wow, the last question's the hardest. My big dream is that moms stop feeling shamed or alone or afraid to reach out or to share that it's hard and that it's not all it's cracked up to be all the time. And so I think what that means for my business is getting more education out there about like what is actually going on with us while we're pregnant, while we're in labor, while we're postpartum. Like, if I could make my business more about preparing moms, because one thing I always tell my moms in prenatal visits is the trouble I see moms getting into in postpartum is when their expectations are very specific, and then reality can't possibly be that. It might not be worse, but it's going to feel worse because it's not the thing that they had in their mind. And I think the work needs to be done on the front end to prepare moms, especially first-time moms, for a mindset shift. I tend to get a lot of clients who are type A personalities, perfectionists. They want everything to go right as planned, and I am one, and I get it, and it's like, it's a blessing and a curse, right? But it doesn't apply to being a parent of a newborn. Like, you can't perfectionist your way to having the perfect newborn, and a lot of times what you do doesn't have a specific outcome day after day. Totally random, and to prepare moms for that is really hard. So I think for my business, I'd like to get the education piece like really strong and available to people everywhere. Like, I don't need to just be serving Rockford if my stuff is virtual, right? So that, as an entrepreneur, my goal would be to spread my wings geographically and then have more doulas to serve our state line area so that we can get like deep in Rockford and broad across the board.
I love it. I love it. Dream big and go for the stars. Like I have really learned a lot actually about your services and what a doula does, and I wish I had one. I think my
Me
baby
too.
just turned 16, so and then my bigger baby will be 20 at the end of the year. So it's been a while, but you're right. It was so vivid in my mind. Both births. They
Right.
were both different and both scary in different ways. But I was blessed to have amazing, healthy kids, babies, and young adults now. So, well, thank you so much for sharing. At the end of my show, I always like to give my guests an opportunity to promote themselves, tell people how to find you if you have any great things happening in the works. So you already told us about your class coming up, but I'm going to put your information on the screen for everybody to see. But floor is yours. Tell us exactly what we need to know about you.
Well, that class on the 10th is coming up, November 10th, starts a 6-week series. I do have one-off classes mixed in between now and the end of the year. Doula availability is pretty available starting in January, so I can help you out there. And I just would like everyone to know that I'm out here, that if you have a question or a concern or you want a consultation, I do free chats with people all the time to talk about where they're at. And then sometimes the answer is you should have a doula, and sometimes it's you should take these prenatal classes. And, this is a very customizable family feel. So just, contact me. You can book consultation through my website, or you can email me at Traci@Back2You Support. And we'll take it from there. And I'd love to hear your birth stories. Now you got me, I'm on the edge of my seat. So we'll have to have coffee so I can hear all about those memories.
Yeah,
And
I
thanks
will
for
share
having
with
me.
you privately, not with the whole people.
Sure.
Yeah, it was both of them were very interesting, and it's funny because like you said, it's one of our vivid memory, but I feel like you kind of forget about it, and then for a time, and then you're
Right.
like, oh yeah, I want to get pregnant again, and then you're pregnant, you're like, oh my god, I remember the first one, like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and now it's good or bad or whatever, but yeah, you're just kind of reminded. You kind of forget about all the bad stuff, and you just remember all the wonderful things until you're pregnant and there's no turning back. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that happened.
Well, this is why sometimes my clients say, my mom said she loved being pregnant. My mother-in-law said she loved breastfeeding. And I'm like, they didn't. They're not the whole time. They just don't remember. And
Right.
you will say that too one day, but you don't have to like it right now. It's okay. I didn't like it the whole time. I really didn't like being pregnant. But yeah, I mean, it's just not for everybody. And it's nice to have a little amnesia when it comes to some of those things, because we love our kids, so we don't want to remember only the bad stuff, But yeah, it's helpful to have a support team. It's helpful to feel like there's a village behind you. Motherhood is not for the faint of heart, and it's not something that we should be doing alone. And we don't need, our mothers or mother-in-laws telling us how great it should be if it doesn't feel great. So I'm real, and my colleagues were all real people with real stories. And yeah, I just appreciate that there's a voice saying, this is allowed to suck, and maybe this part's not for you, and let's figure out what we can do instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you're really open about you're not alone, and that's huge. So, well, thank you so much, Traci. It's the end of our show. I look forward to having coffee with you one day. And everybody else, bye for now. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Cindy.